Ah, video game crossover. We rarely see it. Now, this is also another anti-woke video game, and let's talk about video game crossovers. Now, this is one of them. Not every video game has a crossover, or perhaps crossover between studios. Let's say, for example, Marvel vs. Capcom, of which the latest one, which I'm going to be covering in a separate video, they have all the characters from Capcom, including Resident Evil, Devil May Cry, facing off against the Marvel characters. Sadly, crossovers doesn't last long. I don't know how long it lasts, but I'm gonna have to recheck all the time. What we're talking about is Warriors Orochi, and this is a crossover between Dynasty Warrior and Samurai Warriors. And yes, both of them are developed by the same company, Koei. It's like ancient China crossover with feudal Japan, or I think it's still feudal Japan because China is still the same, even though during feudal Japan, during the feudal Japan, China's Qing dynasty exists. I think I just had to recheck back. Let's check into the history of this before we get into any further. Now this one, before I begin, let's check the first one, see when's the last. This is the one on the PS2. Before it's called Warriors Orochi, it is called Musou Orochi, okay? This is 2007. This is about 17 years ago. 17-year-old franchise. And lasted for 11 years. I don't know how long. Before that, let's check Dynasty Warrior. Dynasty Warrior 2. 1997. That's pretty good. Yes, this is 1997. Let's check the latest one. Dynasty Warrior 9. When was this? I think it spans over a decade. Well, 11 years. And my memory serves me correctly. Yeah, it looks like 11 years. But Warriors Orochi, I think it lasted a lot longer. Hang on, let's check the first one again. One more time. Same thing, same length. 11 years. Sometimes, not every crossover can last longer than, 2 decades? I mean, some have lasted longer. I mean, it's still playable. Well, I don't know how many people playing it. We just have to wait and see. Or we'll just check it right now. Before that, let's check the latest one. Now, I'm not going to show this. We'll just skip to the reviews. Most of them are very positive. Most of them. This is a longtime fan. Says being playing that, blah blah blah. The combat is fast-paced. Okay, that's the good. Let's see what else it says. Extremely satisfying, destructive. Ooh, okay. It's still combat, and love with Warriors Orochi 3, Dynasty Warrior 8, Samurai Warriors 4. Remember, this is a crossover. Now the bad is the grind in this game is insane. Characters level up as you play, which unlock new moves, stats boosts. It's very important. Well, you guys can pause this if you want to read it. Overall, I still highly recommend the game. The gameplay is shining example of what Musou should be like. Koei is trying its hardest to apologize for Dynasty Warrior 9. That's unfortunate. Yeah, there were some issues, okay? Yeah, some people have disagreed on this one. Despite Dynasty Warrior 9's success, or perhaps Dynasty Warrior 9's failure, it still did one thing right. Fast pacing, good mechanics, and there was no woke ideology infested in that game. None. I'm guessing some of the female characters in Dynasty Warrior and Samurai Warriors were all attractive. Well, not exactly attractive like Stellar Blade, but at least they're not uglified. I had to assume most of their characters are one-to-one. Well, yes, besides from Nobunaga, I don't know how I think everything is one-to-one. I could be wrong on that one. And this is a good old-fashioned hack and slash, and yes, you get to ride horse compared to Devil May Cry, but overall, I think it's still recommended to buy and play this game. If you guys don't want to see any, or perhaps you don't want any DEI or woke video games, this is one of them. Leave a like and subscribe and comment down below. List off anything or perhaps any game that you think is not woke.